Ooh. On the nose, number 5, it smelled a bit too oaky, but when you started tasting the palate, everything started to come together. That's good. I'm Matthew Horkey. For the last 7 years, I've traveled around the world tasting thousands of wines annually in search of the most unique, exciting, and expensive bottles on the planet. It's actually the second most widely planted red grape variety in the world, but for some reason, I don't feel like it gets the love that it deserves. And come on, can we let go of the sideways thing? That was almost 20 years ago.
If anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any fucking Merlot!
The writing in that film was so good because Miles poo-pooed on Merlot. He also poo-pooed on Cabernet Franc.
I've come never to expect greatness from a Cab Franc, and this one is no different.
And at the end, what was his prized possession? A Cheval Blanc, which is 50% Merlot, 50% Cabernet Franc. All right, back to Merlot. Merlot is an incredible grape. It's responsible for making some of the world's greatest wines. If you look at the home of Merlot, Bordeaux, southwest France, it also could be considered maybe the king of Bordeaux. It's the leading red grape planted in Bordeaux and the leading red grape planted in all of France for that matter. Yeah, I'm more of a right bank guy. I think those wines are easier to approach when young. I really love me some Saint-Emilion Grand Cru, some Pomerol, Fronsac for instance. Because Merlot is reliable when it comes to ripening, it's planted all over the world, and there are some wonderful examples. Today, I have 7 wines from 7 different regions that consistently produce great, not just good, but great Merlot. When a lot of people think of Merlot, they think of thin, watery, just kind of cheap wines, but great Merlot is rich, dense, and structured. And a lot of times, great Merlot can be confused with great Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon is a little bit more angular when it's young, which means it has more tannins, more acidity, it's kind of sharper around the edges, where Merlot has usually a nice plush mouthfeel. I think the great thing about Merlot is you can get great wine and really good value. All of these wines I have here are excellent wines. All come in under $100. A lot of them are around $50. And yes, I know that's a lot, but it's really not a lot when it comes to great, fine, age-worthy wine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blind taste these wines, reveal in terms of preference, and as I reveal each one, I'll talk about the different region that's from and why that region is so great for Merlot. I know that I'm going to get tons of comments, so omitted is this is a lot of Southern Hemisphere wines. I don't have any Merlots from South Africa here, Australia, because the Aussies tend to favor more towards Cabernet Sauvignon or Shiraz. I don't have any New Zealand wines, although I have tasted some nice New Zealand Merlots from like Waiheke, Hawke's Bay, but nothing exceptional, nothing great. Chile, there are some wonderful Merlots, but are there really like a lot of great Merlots? All the regions I have represented here make great Merlots, and more than just one producer, not just a one-off. There's usually several, or maybe the majority of the appellation produces consistently great Merlot, and that's why I've chosen the regions. Okay, enough blabbing. Let's get these blinded. Let's get them tasted. And we're back as always tasting with my Gabriel Glas Standart edition. Love these glasses, universal glasses. They work great with Merlot, great with Bordeaux blends. Obviously look at the shape. I have a link in the description box, really helps the channel if you purchase with that link. Okay, just letting you know, first of all, these are not all the same vintages because a couple of these producers, they hold back the wines a few vintages before they release them. But what the heck, I wanted to get a good representative from every region that I wanted to show, so it is what it is. Some people comment and ask when I reveal the wines, why are they actually full? It's because I use a Corvin, I take out a little tasting pour, I put it in a plastic cup, and then I have somebody mix the wines around so that I don't know what order they are. That's just how it is, guys. Got my trusty legal pad. Let's taste. Okay, wine 1. Merlot can really run the gamut in terms of flavors. I've had Merlots that have lots of nice tart, even sour cherry type flavors. I have some that were a little bit fat, real plummy, dark plum type flavors. But if I had to make a stereotypical flavor of Merlot, I would say dark cherry, the black cherries, not the sour cherries, the black cherries, maybe a little bit of red plum. You're gonna get a little bit of chocolate because they're usually aged in wood, a little bit of tobacco. But here we go. Let's taste. Number 1, just exactly what I said. Black cherry, tobacco, a little bit of chocolate, red plum. It's pretty. It's not too fat. It just smells really nice. Merlot can have some violet type notes too sometimes. Tannins are really nice in wine 1. Tart. On the nose, it was quite fruity. On the palate, it's really earthy. It's actually super, super earthy. Okay, wine number 2. Wine 2 shows a little bit more wood, a little bit more dark cherry, a little bit more plum, a little more richer, denser type Merlot. Here's the thing with wine 2, a lot of people are gonna like it. It is dense, it's structured, it's rich. It just has a little bit of oak for a little bit too much oak for my palate personally. I think the oak's gonna meld with time. These Merlots are not shy, they have some tannin. 3 and 1 have similar noses. Violets, red plum, black cherry, tobacco. Smells nice. Rush of just nice acidity, which I really like. This is more to my palate, and I think it's going to be a European wine. It just makes my mouth water. It's really juicy. I really like it. I think it's a really good wine. Again, not for everybody. Wine 4 smells like it's a little bit more mature. Has some kind of more mushroom, earthy notes. Really pretty. Really nice. As red wines start to age, they start to gain complexity. You're going to look for mushroom notes, earth, leather. Those kind of flavors start to develop in the glass. Maybe even a hint of rubber. In a good way. Oh, the length here is really good. That's really good, whatever this is. So funny because not everybody's gonna like that wine. A lot of people might think it's a little bit thin for a Merlot, but I really like it. I like the acidity. Wine 5 also shows quite a bit of wood up front, not in a bad way, but there is wood. Chocolate flavors, black cherry, red cherry. I have to say, surprisingly, a lot of these Merlots smell pretty similar. Ooh. On the nose, number 5, it smelled a bit too oaky, but when you started tasting the palate, everything started to come together. So what's so funny about wines? Sometimes you don't pick it up on the nose, and sometimes on the palate, it could be a little too oaky for my taste. On the nose, I was like, uh-oh, a little bit scared. I don't want to be chewing on wood, but it really comes together, and it's just a beautiful wine in the glass. That's good. Wine 6 is a little bit tight, and what I mean by that, it's not super expressive, it's not showing all the flavors that I want to see. I can still tell it's Merlot, you still get the red plum, the cherry notes. Wine 6 is a good wine, but it's just not showing the best right now. What I mean by that might be kind of like in a dumb phase. What I mean by dumb phase is great wines as they age, they go through this period where they start to close up and they're not giving you much, and then after a few years on bottle, they start to open up. You know, wine's like a person. Same thing with people. People go through different phases in their life, different phases in the year. Wine 7 has all the Merlot characteristics I've been talking about, but it has a little bit more kind of baking spice type of flavor. But on the palate, tannins it's really structured. The wine just fills the mouth, and it's incredibly long. That's the nice thing about Merlots is they're real mouth-filling. Sometimes Cabernet can be a little too austere. Sometimes it can hold back some of the fruit. Nice stuff what number 7 is. You ready for the reveal? Let's get it. Okay, I liked all of the wines here. There was one that I thought was a little bit shy, not showing its best right here at the moment in time, but some of these are some pretty serious wines. I'm really excited to see what they are. Let's start out with an order of preference. What I'll do is I'll reveal the wines. I'll talk about why the region's so great. Okay, let's go to wine number 6. Wine number 6 at 90 plus points. I think it's really good wine. You can tell on the palate. Right now, it's just real tight. It's not showing me a lot. It's not giving me a ton there. I want just a little bit more. Let's see what this is. Wow. This is the Château Nenin 2012 from Pomerol. $65 Pomerol. Probably the enclave in terms of Merlot. Petrus, one of the most famous Merlots in the world, is a Pomerol. 2012. This is a library release wine that they set. I'm shocked that it's just, I could tell it's good wine, it's just not showing its best right now. To me, that's shocking. Especially Pomerols are pretty expensive. To get in at $60 if you want to try a Pomerol, usually a pretty good. I'm shocked. Okay, it is what it is. Let's move on here. Number 2, I think a lot of casual people would say, oh, this is the best wine ever because it is pretty oaky. There is a lot of chocolate type notes. For me, the oak's a bit much now, but I think it's a younger wine, so I think with time it will start to mold together. It's a super serious wine, so you know I gave it 91 points as it shows as now to my palate, but I think it's actually going to show super well with time. Let's take a look and see what it is. Wow. This is the Long Shadow Vintners Collection Pedestal, Washington State Merlot. This is $70, made in collaboration with Michel Rolland from Pomerol as well, the famous consultant from Pomerol, from Washington State. Washington State is really well known for a lot of things. It does a lot of things well. Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Riesling, some excellent Chardonnays. Gewürz. Washington State does a lot of things nice. This is mostly Merlot with some Cabernet Sauvignon and a touch of Malbec in it. Good wine, like I said, just for me. Just a little oaky for my taste right now. Number one, what we started out with, I thought was just stereotypical Merlot. Like I said, had the cherry notes, the red plum, had some violet type. It was just a nice, pretty Merlot. I gave it 92 points. I thought it was very, very good. Let's take a look at, wow. This is the Movia Veliko Rdeče 2012 from Kariška Brda, Slovenia. This is 70% Merlot, 20% Cabernet Sauvignon, 10% Pinot Noir. I included this because Slovenia, Istria, Croatia, they're Adriatic wines, I say so to speak. It proves to be an excellent, excellent place for Merlot. I've tasted some really stellar examples from multiple producers. It borders Friuli Venezia Giulia, which we have a Merlot from that region here. And I think the Merlots are just world class. A lot of people don't know about that. This is, I think, $50. And I have to say, this wine ages tremendously. When it's got 10, 15 years on it, it ages tremendously. It's a producer that put Slovenia on the map. Rockstar wine producer. Wine 4. I think this is developed, which is so funny. I thought this would be one of the developed wines. It still was quite young. 2012. This is the current release of that wine. Wine 4, I thought it showed some development. Long, had the acidity. That's what I liked at first. The acidity really popped. 92 plus for wine number 4. We're going, these guys are neighbors. Friuli Venezia Giulia. The Conte Brandolini Vistorta Merlot 2015. The cheapest Merlot in the bunch. $30. Friuli Venezia Giulia is one of the greatest regions in the world, in my opinion. Makes a lot of great wines. Merlot there's rich and structured. Some of the best Merlots I've ever had, like from Miani, Miroy, Borgo de Tilio. This is serious stuff. I chose a lesser known producers because those producers, they grow the Merlots up in the hills a little bit. This is actually made in the flatlands where they make a lot of cheap Pinot Grigio, but I'm really impressed with this wine. $30, 92 plus points. It is developed 2015, drinking beautifully now in one of the current releases, so good job by them. I had never tasted that wine before. Wine number 3 here, I had it at 93 points. Reminded me of wine number 1, balanced Merlot, but the acidity. It really had this rush of acidity. I want my mouth to water. I want it to be juicy. Let's see what it is. 93 points. We're starting to get some serious, wow. This is the Avignonesi Desiderio from Tuscany, Merlot 2018. You know, sometimes I poo-poo on Tuscan Merlot, but fact of the matter is there are some great Merlots being done in Tuscany. Some of the other flagships, the San Giusto and Rentanano, they make a great Merlot. And then obviously you have Massetto, which is one of the most iconic Merlots or red wines in the world. $60. This is usually one of my least favorite wines from Avignonesi, but it showed really well. And I have to say, that being said too, back at the estate when I was there last year, we opened in '88. And it was just incredible. Maybe you have to reconsider that being my least favorite wine from them. Okay, the top 2. Before we release the top 2, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the bell so you know when new videos are coming out, and drop a comment there down below. Tell me, do you love Merlot? What are some of your favorite regions? The top 2, number 7 here. It was shy at first, but then it became super structured and the length was so impressive. I gave it 93 plus points. Wow! This is the Château de Ferrand Grand Cru Classé, the Centimillion Grand Cru Classé 2018. This is 73% Merlot, 27% Cabernet Franc. For a great Bordeaux, I've been to this estate. It's actually owned by the same family that owns the Bic company, the Bic pens. $45. In Europe, you know, I've seen it for less than 30. I think it's a heck of a wine. Ages super, super well. So funny, Centimillion for me always sticks out on the nose. It has this unique flavor. But I remember when I visited them for the first time, it was the first Centimillion Grand Cru that I thought, wow, it really doesn't, I don't think I could pick it out blinded. I didn't pick it out blinded. I didn't call Centimillion Grand Cru. So nice wine. Okay, the top wine, 94 points. This is the wine I said at first was a little bit oaky, but all of a sudden the oak started to come together on the palate. It just started to taste really, really balanced. And I'm impressed. Another California. Rafanelli, Merlot, 2019, Dry Creek Valley, Sonoma County. This producer is famous for Zinfandel, but the Merlot is also awesome, 70 bucks. Impressive stuff. California, a lot of people think of California cabs, but there are some excellent Merlots out there. Duckhorn obviously makes some wonderful Merlot. Mayakimus, which makes great Cabernet Sauvignon, makes great Merlot as well. And now Rafanelli. I haven't had their Merlot before, so let me know what you guys think of this tasting. Drop comments below. Tell me what your favorite Merlot is. Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.